get embarrassed and I turn red.
Well, I do too.
Yeah. You guys enjoy. Jamie, Dr. Shane.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, love you, Jamie.
No, this will help because so many people have this
Yeah.
same question, or I guess concern more than questions. Like they come in and they want to do one or two things. They either want to lose weight or have their clothes fit better, but maybe it's both. And they can tell you straight up, it's not about the number, it's about losing the inches and having the clothes fit better and getting
and just how you're feeling internally and everything.
But even at that, people still come back in, they get that the data, right? And they see that their numbers are a little bit like this, and it still is deflating. So can I ask how that was with you?
Yeah, so it was kind of confusing because you try and think about what you did differently during that time and you overthink it. And for me, when I overthink what I'm eating, when I'm eating, how much I'm drinking, then you just get overwhelmed. And like for a while I was drinking way too much water, and like, so it's a lot of trial and error, but your hormones fluctuate too, and so that was probably part of it. And like it's a tiny snapshot from one day, but to you it's that whole week. And like, and so it was just like very confusing. So I'm like, where am I supposed to alter, where am I supposed to change, when realistically I probably didn't need to. And had I started taking my measurements from the beginning, or maybe even writing down like how I was feeling, like bloating and just energy level, and focusing on that instead. Like, it's great seeing it's obviously great seeing the numbers go the way you want.
Oh yeah. But if they're not,
then you need to focus on that other stuff. Yeah.
So it sounds like you were in that camp of being frustrated. You found out that, or saying, if I'd been journaling, if I'd been taking these measurements sooner, I wouldn't have had that frustration. I would have been focusing on the right things.
Absolutely.
So when you started doing measurements, what changed?
I realized that despite the numbers fluctuating, I actually was losing inches overall every week.
What was the best part of that?
Well, one, clothes fitting better. On top of measurements, I had my work outfit that I wore I guess it's more than 2 years ago now, but when I started in, and I used that to kind of try to put that on and see how far I was from buttoning the pants. Okay. So like, it was like, I'm like 3 inches away, then I'm like 2 inches away, and now I'm in them. And so I did that too, and every time it got a little bit closer, it was very motivating. And it just felt great. So despite that stuff, it was like, I know I'm making progress, I know I'm doing the right things and just doing the best that I can. And I think mentally, you have to be in the right mental space to like make healthy choices, do the healthy things, and feel good. And if you're in that bad space, that's kind of what gets you to the unhealthy place in the first place.
Sure. With you, what can I ask a personal question? What was that mental shift that you had to go through to get into that good place?
Yeah, so I think when you're I'm a very cravings-based eater.
Yep, me too.
And so, you have to have that kind of motivation to get over those cravings, like, oh, I don't have time right now, so I should just go through a drive-through, versus like having something else on hand, knowing like, okay, well, nobody wants to like snack on like a protein drink and carrots over something else, but when you have that shift, it's like, I don't want to undo all this progress that I've made, and I'm feeling better. So on one hand, you kind of crave that stuff, but I think that's more habit than like an actual craving. I noticed a difference between like the craving, like, oh, that would be nice to have that, but then at the same time, I don't need that anymore. And you want to make those healthy choices, and you're just more positive about it. Whereas if you feel like you're gonna fail, you are. And when you're in that bad mental space, like I used to be, it was like, you make one healthy choice, but then you feel like you're derailed, and then you're like, what's the point? Let me just keep doing, what everyone's doing.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly how that feels.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you found out what I found out, what so many other people find, is by having that baseline goal, which for you became your outfit, your work outfit that 2 years ago maybe fit, or it wasn't fitting, but you could see that your future was going to be brighter
Yes.
as you kept on with that, and that was the thing where your attention focused on that kept you motivated. So it's the end of the day, I've had, oh gosh, I just want some cookies, carbs, pasta, whatever it is that you're, for me it's ice cream, but if you have your attention focused on, I just try to button these pants, I did my measurement and I am making progress, even though maybe this doesn't tell the whole story.
Yes.
It tells a story, but it doesn't tell the whole story.
Right.
But when your clothes are starting to fit, you can really see it and you can feel it. I mean, that's where the motivation kicks in, and it's an enormous amount of
Absolutely.
power with that. Okay, well, I'm glad that Becky got you lined up with that simple tool.
Yes.
It's just a little measuring tool. I think from here on out, as we learn, because this is practice, you have to practice and learn. We've never, given out tape measures for people at home. That sounds like a good thing to do, so they can really track their progress and keep them on track and motivated, and they're not just fixated on this. Because I know people go home and just get on the scale 2-3 times a day, and because they were habituated to it, we're told to do it. It's hard to break those habits.
Yes.
So, well, congratulations on crushing it,
Thank
hitting
you.
your goals,
Yes.
doing all the things that you needed to do.
Yeah.
You're the type of person that succeeds because you take action, you show up, and you have a good positive mental attitude. You shifted it and you had the right goal in mind. So, sounds like you're moving onward and upward.
Yes.
Can I ask, is it like a career move?
It is.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you do?
So here I was a victims counsel, so I represented victims of sexual assault, domestic violence, and down in Texas I will be at the disability council, so those who are leaving their job due to injury or mental health, to make sure that they get the proper resources and stuff on the way out.
Well, that sounds like it'll be fulfilling.
Yes.
Yeah, getting people help. It's like helping people.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Well, you feeling better
Yes.
about everything?
Yes.
You've really rocked it. I've heard your story.
The other thing about the tape measuring thing, I know that it can get a little overwhelming about like, oh, am I measuring the exact right spot? Like, where are your hips?
Yeah.
So I think with that, like, I just was like, I don't care if it's the right spot as long as it's a consistent spot, because as long as you're seeing it go in the direction you want, it doesn't really matter where it's at, if it's your official hips or your unofficial hips or where you're at on your waist or the biggest part of your belly. And so that's one thing that I would recommend for those who do decide to do the taping every week is to not, I mean, yeah, of course you're gonna try to do it, but like don't get overwhelmed by the position of where you're putting the tape and how accurate it is as far as your waist and hips and where you're doing it on your legs, but just pick a spot that you want to measure and track that progress.
That's great advice. Any other advice that you might give to people? I mean, you've been successful, so this is really critical for people to understand and look up to people that have had success. So any last things that you can think of that would maybe help?
One thing that probably made a difference, so the amount of water, I think I was doing like over a gallon a day. I think that was definitely too much. If you're getting headaches and you're drinking a lot of water, it's probably too much. But Becky had suggested adding that, I think it was like Himalayan salt kind of thing. I think that definitely made a difference. But I switched from a gallon water jug to one that's like 33 ounces. So if you're shooting towards like the 66, then you would do 2 of them. If you want to do like 90, then you do like 3. And so doing it that way helps me with water intake and adding that. And then just mixing it up with like the veggies, and there's so many like seasonings out there. Like I know that there's some at the counter that don't have that added stuff, and then the sauce, like the Skinny Girl sauces and stuff like that. That makes a big difference in the sweet drops in the coffee and stuff. And then I used to drink a lot of soda. Diet Coke was like my thing, but I found the more water I drank, I just would drink plain water. But I also discovered, I don't remember the sparkling ice plus caffeine. So it doesn't have like added sugar, it has like vitamins and stuff in it. It's got carbonation similar to soda, it's got a good flavor, and then it's got that caffeine that I was kind of missing from like soda, a little pick me up without wanting to have another cup of coffee. So I switched to that, and that definitely helped me drink more water as well, and then just kind of like it acted as a treat. But there's a lot of stuff out there that's like a treat, but it doesn't have, you know, like that added stuff. There's a protein dough that, you know, is like, so stuff like that. I don't have much of a sweet tooth, but when I do, you could just like take a spoonful of it, it's high protein, like all that stuff. So just finding those kind of like shortcuts if you feel, because you know, some people are like, oh, are you gonna just have plain chicken and just veggies? And it's like, no, you can have the flavor in it and do all those things and make it exciting, because it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle change. So just kind of keeping that mindset.
Absolutely. Well, since you've been successful and you've, you know, like you're fitting into your work uniform, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, your outfit. That's awesome. That's amazing. I'm sure a lot of people want to do that. They have that as a goal.
Yeah.
Can you tell me maybe just a benefit or two, or maybe even more, that you didn't expect from doing the program? Anything you just didn't anticipate would happen that's a benefit?
So I was hoping to get close to fitting in the pants, and then I am in them, and then more so, like they fit better than, you know, I had anticipated through this progress. Initially, with the number on the scale, I didn't have a hard number. Everyone kind of has a dream, but I realistically didn't think it was gonna alter much, because the weight difference where I was at wasn't from what I used to be. I'm lower in weight than I was when I was 2 years ago. And so this number that I haven't seen in a very long time, even when I, you know, was just kind of like healthier and doing stuff. So that has been really nice. I lost more weight than I thought I needed, even though I wasn't really focused on that. But, and then just the energy. So the reason why I got to where I was with my weight and kind of my health was just health stuff going on. I didn't have any energy. I just felt overwhelmed by, like, you know, making food and doing all that stuff, and you know, you just don't have the energy to do it, and you're not doing stuff around the house. And so one of the big differences is I'm a lot more active just naturally. I don't even have to think about it. I'll just go up and do, you know, projects around the house or tasks, or go for a longer walk, or, you know, do a longer workout or work out at all. And you know, just overall feeling lighter inside. You know, even like not factoring in like fitting in the outfits, you feel different internally. So that was definitely
That's a great point. I watched a recent testimonial of a woman, and that's what she said in a nutshell. She said, you know, I love beyond my expectations, because she came in skeptical. So many people do.
Yeah.
Right. It's just, you probably were as well. Like,
Absolutely.
okay, I guess I'll try this, but I don't.
Yeah.
Blows away your expectations. It did with her as well. She lost the inches, the weight, the whole bit. Her skin was like dramatically changed. Her husband said, baby, look like you're glowing. You know? So, you know, she made like a big transformation, but she said something really poignant. You know, as much as the external has changed, and I'm loving the way my clothes fit and all this, all compliments I'm getting, it's the internal transformation that's really made me happy. And it's been the biggest positive change.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think it has to be mind, body, spirit.
Absolutely.
And if you're not getting all three of those, which then that translates into, I'm happy, I'll go out and be social. That's part of health, right?
Yeah.
So it's the physical, it's the mental, neuro-emotional, and it's the social, spiritual, you know, all combined together. When it all comes together, transformation.
Yep.
So you rocked it. You high five?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for spending a little bit of time with me and just
Of course.
let me know about your experience. Would you recommend this program to others?
1,000%.
1,000%. That's good. Okay. All right. Thank you, Jamie. Good luck with what you're doing. And we're here to support you, obviously. I know we've given you, you know, those outlets so you can get a hold of us and we can keep you going, because the last thing you want to do is lose the weight and then gain it back. It's not going to happen.
No,
okay?
absolutely.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.